Without any further ado, I would like to introduce Michael Rudden. Please give him a warm ShmooCon welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So in contrast with helicopters, which was an awesome talk, I'm going to talk about parking my car and trying to not get a ticket. So almost as exciting. So here's a disclaimer. I've talked to people from both Passport Parking, Common Parking app, and the city of Raleigh where I live. What I'm about to discuss is not an application flaw in Passport's app, nor any municipal system. To be very clear on that. I'm just trying to not get a ticket when I park. So relevant background about myself, I'm a security engineer. So I got a little bit of security engineer mindset. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's a wonderful growing city, population a little under 500,000. And in 2019, they moved their downtown parking to Passport Parking from old traditional meter system. And North Carolina allows you to get special characters in your license plates. It's pretty unique. I think there's a couple others that do something similar, but mine has a $sign in it. So I did do a little bit of digging and find out how that worked. Sometimes when you try to do like license plate reader, park your car at the airport, it reads it funny, so you have to kind of know how these things work to have a special character. And in 2018, I went to Scotland and I got a parking ticket when I parked my car at a grocery store to buy a sandwich because I thought it was a I, but it was a 1, and their app didn't normalize that. So, going to the present day, why do these things matter? So I went to City Hall for a meeting. In this scenario, I parked in a 1-hour metered zone. Directly across from City Hall for a meeting with a big agenda. I was there for an item pertaining to my neighborhood, and it was 1-hour parking, but, you know, sometimes where you fall on the agenda, you might have to be there a while. And I did indeed have to be there a while. So since I had used the Passport Parking app, what I've done in the past is it'll alert you if you top it up. Well, it turns out this rule that they had put in for this parking zone meant that at the end of 1 hour, you could not renew. So here's what happened. I bought an hour of parking, it expired. I went to renew it and it was like, sorry, it's restricted. So I'm sitting in this meeting, pretty sure something coming up soon is something that, you know, got a lot of people from my neighborhood at, kind of like Parks and Rec when you have a lot of people at the meeting and they all have opinions. And I'm one of those people sometimes. So I'm sitting in this meeting, I'm trying not to leave because it's like any time, you know, I might have to like raise my hand. So what would I have done in the past? I would have probably just put quarters in the meter, right? Or sometimes you move your car over a few spaces, maybe a block. Or you rub chalk lines off if you're in one of those places. So really what I'm trying to do, like I said, not hack a system, just not leave the meeting and not get a ticket. So going back in time, when you request a personalized license plate in North Carolina, there's this form on the DMV website that explains all the special characters you could choose from. And the verbiage that they use are characters that count as 1 space, characters that count as a half space, characters that count as 2 spaces. There's a whole bunch of them, right? There's actually way more special characters I think we have than pretty much any other state that I've seen. California has like a heart and a handprint and stuff. Anyway, and side note, zeros and O's are the same thing. So that problem I had in Scotland wouldn't happen where I am because everything's a 0. So as I'm sitting in this meeting, I'm like, there's something about these special characters. I remember there's something about them. And I look it up. And sure enough, I find this guide to special characters. So here's a table of all the special characters and how many spaces they are. But then at the bottom is the key here. It says, note, special characters will not be considered when determining if a plate text is available. For example, plate A&3 at C is the same as A3C. So we now know a character is the same as a space is the same as nothing. So that means that every license plate number that has a special character can be expressed 3 different ways and still be that valid plate. So what I did was I took the $sign out of my license plate and I ran it through and it worked. So this is kind of what got me started here. So I thought this is kind of cool. Start, you know, texting some people I know. I'm like, this is kind of a neat security, like kind of overlay with the way, you know, the real world works. So I'm IRL, applying security thinking. I was able to kind of just work around. It's 1 license plate. I expressed it 2 different ways and got 2 different results. So what I did was I reached out to someone at Passport Parking, someone from the city of Raleigh, had some really interesting conversations. And that's going to inform some of the stuff coming up. So thinking going beyond. Here's an example of a default license plate in North Carolina. They have a format that's like ABC-1234. This means everyone who doesn't have a personalized plate has 3 valid plate numbers. And not every parking system, as I mentioned, can handle all of them. So sometimes you won't be able to type in a hyphen. Sometimes you won't be able to type in a space. Sometimes you won't be able to type in an O or a 0. Sometimes you can't do a $sign. So basically, if you have special characters in your license plate, you have to be familiar with how to type them in, or how the license plate readers that are automated will recognize them, how these things are going to go. It's a very strange rabbit hole to go down. So other considerations, as I mentioned. O's and zeros are the same. This is actually really convenient, but what I heard from people in Raleigh was that when they got kiosks to go on some of the streets that would kind of link up with the different parking systems, they could not all normalize O's and zeros. So people could put in their license plate 2 different ways on the street kiosks, which is kind of weird. They're not the same character in a lot of states, and that leads to very weird license plates where people try to get away from cops by putting like O0, O0. We have a lot of specialty plates in North Carolina, over 100. Many states have these. We've got fun things like, support the Blue Ridge Parkway, support our local sports team, Let's Go Canes, Purple Hearts, and different plates for veterans. And my personal favorite is watermelon. So let's prepare for unforeseen consequences. So a lot of this comes out of my conversation with the city parking department. So what happens when parking enforcement comes around? Well, they've got these things called LPRs. It's like license plate recognition or license plate reader, depending on the context. So if they detect your plate and it's in the table of the paid plates from that block, you're good. If not, they do a manual check, and it kind of gets up to them whether or not they think that you're good, right? And then otherwise, you'll just get a ticket. One interesting thing, our parking department the police don't write tickets. It all goes into the parking department budget, and they're very proud of this. They said that they write less than 5% of the people parking in our city each year a citation, and the budget doesn't go to police. So there's not like a lot of incentive for over-ticketing, but there's, it's still annoying, right? And people are trying their best. They're just trying to go visit downtown, support local business. So there's a workaround to all this, which is the appeals process. So sometimes when people get out of their car, they see a number, say passport parking app, they type it in, it's actually the block over. Our city's pretty understanding about that. That's kind of cool. The other thing is, going back to these special plates, right? These letters are actually part of the plate number, and it doesn't tell you that anywhere. So they don't want to write Purple Heart veterans tickets all the time for missing the PH on their plates. And they said they accept 60% of the appeals. So, how's this overlap with security concepts? So, truthfully, this discussion I had with city parking was super interesting. It's basically like they have kind of a sysadmin economic thinking approach to like the entire transportation network of a city. And parking, there's all these different nodes. There's like parking decks, street parking lots, like anything. And they want people to get where they're trying to go. A few years ago, a lot of people switched how they do entitlements, and they use the word entitlements, which I thought was great, right? Basically, they're thinking a lot like IT people, but about like real world, real things. So it used to be you'd feed a meter, that space is good. Anyone can park in that space, it is funded. Now it's you use your license plate. So now when you go to the beach at Carolina Beach, people used to hand the ticket off to the next person pulling into the lot, and it would be free all day, right? But now everyone pays $40. They do automated detection and handling false negatives. So like I mentioned before, they use these LPR technology. And LPR, they said, is about 90% accurate. We have a lot of special characters, so it's all the edge cases. And I fall into them with my own car. Then there's rules-based enforcement that's hard to apply consistently across different vendors and tools. So anyone that's worked in firewalls, web filtering, anything like that is very familiar with these things. But yeah, so they're trying to figure out, okay, we have kiosk A, app B, parking deck C, there's a lot of technology that spans about 60 years of different types. They're trying to create one cohesive system, so it's kind of interesting. Goes back to what I was saying about kind of system architecture here. Input validation and standardization. So I mentioned before, there's a kiosk that couldn't tell that O's and zeros were the same. So that leads us some interesting outcomes. I said every plate has three different plates that it's legally valid as. There's actually, if it has O's and zeros in it, it could be more. So that's kind of fun. End user awareness and training. You want people to know how does the app work, which zone are they supposed to be in. It's supposed to be readily apparent. If you're like me, what they told me was because I was going to be there for longer than an hour, I really should have parked in a parking deck. So now I know that for next time, it's cheaper to park in the parking decks long term, at least in our city. And regulatory requirements, because everything has to follow city and state law. So that's it. Special thanks to the City of Raleigh and Passport Parking. Thanks, everybody.